This insider trading NBA scandal is crazy because you actually had the FBI this morning laying out two major illegal gambling operations. And it allegedly involved players like Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, former Cavalier Damon Jones, Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups, and even members of the Mafia. And we got to break down both of these cases. And so the first, it involves illegal betting on NBA games, with a U.S. attorney describing it as one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since only sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. And Terry Rozier was one of the people that was charged in this scheme, where participants were accused of aiding sports bettors by exploiting confidential and insider information about NBA teams and players. So we're talking about information like when a player might be sitting out of a future game, when they'd take themselves out for injuries, things like that. And that information, it allowed people in the group to place prop bets both online and in casino sportsbooks. And according to the FBI, most of the bets succeeded.
They placed wagers on unders on players to score less, rebound less, assist less, using information that was not yet public. In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out.
Right, the commissioner of the NYPD, they're also detailing the time that Ro-zheer allegedly did this in 2023 while playing the Hornets, right, saying he let people know that he planned on leaving the game early with a supposed injury.
Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Ro-zheer exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars.
With gains then allegedly being delivered to Ro-zheer's home. And these allegations are from 2020 to 2024. And with that, you had officials saying that at least one time the participants used threats to obtain information, right? Allegedly using gambling debts a player Chauncey Porter had against him. Right? And so with this, you had Ro-zheer and others being charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Right? And then you had people like Damon Jones, who was charged in this case, and also he was one of the handful that was charged in the other. There was some overlap between the two. And in that one, it involved illegal and rigged poker games organized by major mob families of La Cosa Nostra. And that indictment says that starting in 2019, the conspirators started manipulating poker games. Right? Games that the victims thought might be illegal, but that they were straight, right? They were above board, right? Not rigged. But in reality, the accused people here were allegedly working together on cheating teams, right? And so they'd use wireless technology to read the cards that were dealt in each hand and then relay that information to each other to cheat.
They used custom shuffling machines that could read the order of cards, barcoded decks, and hidden cameras built into tables and light fixtures. Victims believed that they were sitting at a fair table. Instead, they were cheated out of millions. One victim in particular lost $1.8 million.
And there, you've got Chauncey Billups being accused of being on the cheating team, with officials saying that the crime families enlisted the help of notable NBA names to make the games appear more legitimate, and they'd get a portion of the profits. And as far as the victims, their losses were allegedly above $7 million at these games. Games that also, I'll say, were played across the country, from New York to the Hamptons to Miami to Vegas. And on top of that, these games, they allegedly led to other crimes like a gunpoint robbery and extortion. And so with all this, for his part, Billups was actually arrested for wire fraud conspiracy today, not long after coaching a season-opening game for the NBA. And now, all in all, across both of these cases, you have dozens of people being arrested, and you have way more than just NBA names here. Or I guess I should say former NBA names, because the organization announced that they've been placed on immediate leave, with the league saying that it takes the allegations seriously and, quote, the integrity of our game remains our top priority. And then with this, you also had FBI Director Kash Patel chiming in.
Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra. It's not popular to go after some of the defendants that we went after today, but justice is served blindly. Let's not, mince words. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. That's what this is. That's why we are going to take heat.
You have many right now wondering, is it even bigger than this? Because we're hearing all this today, but it also comes after a similar case was brought forward last year against NBA player Chauncey Porter, with Porter pleading guilty to charges saying that he left games early with him claiming injury, so people knew that they'd win bets where he would underperform. And apparently with what we're seeing today, it's been a long time coming. For the investigations into these two cases, they reportedly date back years. Now, with all this so far, Billups' lawyer has not responded publicly to the allegations, but Ro-zheer's has. We're saying in a statement that investigators appear to be taking the word of spectacularly incredible sources rather than relying on actual evidence of wrongdoing, saying Terry was cleared by the NBA and these prosecutors revived that non-case. Terry is not a gambler, but he is not afraid of a fight and he looks forward to winning this fight. With him also accusing the FBI of intentionally trying to embarrass Ro-zheer and make a spectacle of his arrest by trying to stage a perp wall. Right? And then with all that, as far as the public reaction, in addition to the damn that's crazy reaction, you have some saying, they think that this first case especially points to the larger issue with sports betting. Right? With Representative Paul Tonko, for example, who's introduced legislation legislation regarding the industry, calling this scandal an inevitable consequence of the unchecked explosion of the sports betting industry, and then adding, the constant unfettered access to sports gambling destroys public trust in the game while having dire consequences for countless across our nation struggling with problem gambling. That said, I very much look forward to the 20,000 plus sports docs that are going to be made around this, especially for sports fans out there. While we wait to see what else comes out, how this plays out, I really would love to know your thoughts, opinions, and reactions here. Because obviously, you know, these are standout situations, but I really think this is probably just the tip of the iceberg of what's been going on, not just in the NBA, but in sports across the board. In fact, it may even explain why the Jets haven't won a game. No, that's just because they're bad. Yeah, the Jets are just a cursed organization, and I refuse. I'm a good parent. I refuse to put that generational trauma on my children.